What is up, Husker Nation? Welcome to the Big Red Nation show, Big Red Nation channel here on YouTube. My name is Jason, and what do we got now, huh? We've got a show that we can talk about transfer portal chaos. We can talk about playoffs, college football playoffs. We can also talk about, thankfully, finally, a new coach on the coaching staff. So let's talk about it, shall we? Let's start off with actually, you know what? Let's start off with something that's even kind of a little more off topic. Let's go ahead and start off and talk about the stars of the show. I'm talking about the men's basketball program here at the University of Nebraska, the undefeated, the soon to be. I mean, how far are they going to get? I mean, how far are they going to jump up? All I know is that they will have a single digit ranked in front of their name sometime tomorrow, whenever that AP poll comes out. In fact, I saw today, can't remember who it was now, but they listed, but now Nebraska is being listed as a possible number one seed for a couple different people out there that are doing their bracketologies. I never thought I'd see the day where Nebraska basketball is being talked about as a number one seed in the NCAA tournament. Not for basketball, that's for sure. Man, what a game against Indiana. Let's talk about that game a little bit. And again, it's another game where, like, yes, we won. I think it takes a strong game and a strong team to pull out these wins. So whenever I say, like, they still didn't play like their best game, it's because they didn't. Now they played one hell of a game. They fought. Down 16 on the road at Indiana, and we came back and we won. We came back and got up by 9. Now, there at the very end, Nebraska did a couple things to almost let that game get a little too close to where they could have lost it in the last second. But thankfully, Indiana guy missed both of his free throws. Again, hey, that's awesome. Yeah, sometimes in these Cinderella-style runs, in these undefeated seasons, and these championship run seasons, not saying that we're going to run for an actual national championship, but you see it all the time in all sports. In fact, Nebraska, we know it very well. Go back to 1997, that the flea kicker, Matt Davison, catching the ball off Chevin Wiggins' legs. Like, sometimes it takes a little bit of luck every once in a while to get to where you need to be to win a national championship. Really, all of 1994 up and down, you would say it took a lot of luck. It took a lot of luck that we could still pull out a win against a ranked K-State playing our third string quarterback. So Nebraska fans know very well that sometimes it takes a little bit of luck. Doesn't mean that your team didn't deserve to win. Doesn't mean that your team doesn't deserve to be 16-0 or go on this type of run. Doesn't make them not for real. And just, especially in basketball, man, there's a lot of games that they have to play. So every once in a while, you're going to hit these games where, yeah, it takes a little bit of luck. The ball's got to bounce your way a couple times. But those things happen to teams that are good, right? They don't just happen to bad teams. They happen to teams that are good. So right now, Nebraska is getting a lot of bounces their way, per se. But man, again, like I said, they weren't playing their best. It definitely looked like one of those games where I just kind of went, yeah, it wasn't meant to be. We knew one of these games were going to come, because now eventually Nebraska is going to become the hunted team instead of them being the hunters, and that's a position that clearly nobody on this team has been in before, and so therefore now maybe they have to learn how to play with that mentality. And so, I just kind of, and I guess it's not this game, it's something that they can learn from and they'll move forward. I didn't think the season was going to be done, or all of a sudden they're going to go on some losing streak, but I just kind of felt like, okay, we finally did hit that game where they are going to lose, and okay, we'll see what they do now. And then they just kind of kept coming back. And during the whole time, my dad was over and we just had the game on, and we were building some cabinets and some countertops in my kitchen. And well, just kind of looking up, and all of a sudden I'm looking up. I'm like, hey, we're tied. Hey, we're up 9. What's going on? Okay, then we're like, hey, there's like a minute and a half left. Let's just take a break. Let's finish watching this game real quick. So we did watch fully get to watch the full end. And man, just what a great feeling with this team, man. This team is so much fun. Back-to-back games now, really. Frager, kind of the the deciding factor, if you will, coming down the stretch, making some insanely big plays, not just on the offensive side, but defensive side. Drawing a blocking foul and really getting into people's heads as he's playing defense, playing really good defense, knocking down a three, just being able to drive the lane and finish and draw fouls and get to the line and then make his free throws. Brandon Frager really playing well. Now, if we can just get Rank and Price to kind of get their stroke back again, this team is just going to be so dangerous the rest of the year. And then, of course, the team that we beat by 30 goes on the road and beats the unbeatable Michigan. Wow. Man. So that makes our win against Wisconsin look pretty good, I would say. And now, who knows what that matchup's going to be here at the end of this month, but between us and Michigan. Obviously, we need to now continue to take care of business against Oregon, Washington, Northwestern, and I'm trying to think of who else we play now. There's a fourth game in there, and I can't think of who it is now. But anyway, we got to take care of business, and then we got that showdown with Michigan. And then I think just a couple games after that, we have our first showdown with Purdue. So again, those are kind of the next two milestone games in this season, and we'll see how this team does. But again, now they're really going to be riding high. Things are really going to be looking good for them. They're going to hear a lot of sunshine pumping, if you will, from both local and national media. Let's see how they handle it. Let's make sure that they still go out there every day and take care of business. I have a belief in this team that they will. It's a lot of seniors, a lot of old guys. One thing about Indiana football is that they are very, very old. And right now, their age is just demolishing all the other teams. And if you look at Nebraska basketball right now, they're pretty old. So they've got a lot of experience. And I think that's helping Nebraska basketball right now because they just always seem very even keel. They never seem to really be out of the game whenever we were down 16. And whenever we're up 9, it didn't look like they were just like going, hey, now we've got this. We're going to win this and then just take the rest of the game off. They just kind of stayed the same no matter what. And they've done it in every game we've seen them play. So again, great game to the men's basketball team. Everybody on the team, man, it just plays well. Cale Jacobson, Sam Hoiberg, of course, Frager, Rank, Jamarcus Lawrence, Jerry Garcia whenever he comes in. I mean, everybody puts in the minutes, puts in the hard work, and it's so much fun to watch. So I cannot wait to see how the rest of the season goes. But okay, let's go ahead now. Well, actually, you know what? Before we get to it, let me just go ahead and remind everybody, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Please leave a comment. My views have been doing pretty good, staying pretty consistent and some decent numbers for, a channel that's just really just kind of getting going. Especially since, I'm still just kind of in the rough edges of the beginning. Not a whole lot of production value. It's not like I'm having like guests and former players on all the time. It's just kind of me as a fan chatting to you guys as fans of Husker football and Husker athletics. And, so the subscriptions will really help grow this channel. Maybe you start getting places where sponsors get noticed, everything else. Maybe I can start doing some stuff. I'd love nothing more to be able to put some money into this channel and really help make it grow, make it a better product. But the only way I can do that is if my subscription numbers grow, my channel grows, the comments grow, and everything else. So please leave a comment, hit a like, hit a subscribe, anything you can to help with the channel grow. I'd really, really appreciate it. All right. Now to the main topic that I like to think. It has finally happened, ladies and gentlemen. Nebraska football has hired themselves a defensive line coach, and he goes by the name of Corey Brown. Oops, sorry. Corey Brown. There's his picture. Defensive line. He's gonna now on the all the reports that I've seen, it has shown specifically defensive tackles. I don't know if that is because of Roy Manning's edges. So I don't know if that means he's also going to take on the defensive ends, if those are what he's considering edges. But regardless, that's two guys that's got eyes on the defensive line. I think Phil Simpson is also going to be kind of a guy that's going to work with the defensive line. I think it was yesterday or this morning. The high school defensive lineman Dylan Berryman, was on campus, and a picture of him walking around. He was with Phil Simpson, so he could be helping there too. So let's go ahead, kind of look at a little bio here. So he has. This is his second stint with the Miami of Ohio. He last coached with Miami from 2014 to 2014 to 2018, and then came back in 2023. He also coached at South Dakota with Bob Orich. Again, he's coached many other places. He also coached in the Big Ten at Rutgers, so he does have some of that Big Ten experience. And he is originally from Houston, Texas, and he competed for the Iowa Hawkeyes from 95 to 99. So he played defensive tackle. So he knows the position. He's played the position. He's got ties to Texas, which is huge, right? So whenever it comes to recruiting, he can go down to Texas and get a lot of things. He's got obviously Big Ten ties, played at Iowa, coached with Rutgers, and then he's got experience in this defense with Bob Orich, coaching with him at South Dakota State. So he's got a lot of connections, got a lot of things. Over here, as you can see, Brown's all MAC honorees since he's been a coach. Okay. So this is what his defensive line has done. Let's see here. In the 2023 season, Brown's defensive line reached new heights as Miami finished the season with 35 sacks just from the defensive line. Caden Willard earned first team all MAC honors, recording 9.5 sacks, while Ty Wise and Brian Ugwu each secured 8. I mean, that just from the defensive line, you had 3 guys with damn near 10 sacks apiece. I mean, this guy clearly can coach some defensive linemen. So I'll tell you right now, man, this gets me hyped. I know it took a while, and that part is rough, right? But that part is rough. Oh, there we go. Did I never add that to station? Oh, all right. So here, let me do this again. Let me show you guys real quick. All right, so over here is the guys listed here that he has had between his 2 stints with the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Again, you guys, as early as 24, 23, 23, 18, 17, 16, 15, and 15. And again, in 2023, a huge season. That's just remarkable. So I cannot wait to get him on campus. Hopefully that means that we will finally really get some look now from some very talented D tackles. And if, and we're going to go through this here in a little bit. We're going to go through first some portal news, strictly talking about Nebraska. And then I'm going to look at defensive linemen that have now entered the portal, because I've seen today several very good defensive tackles and linemen enter the portal today. So maybe not all is lost in the portal of getting in some big boys to put on that defensive line. So speaking of, we're going to take a look here. We'll share my screen. We're going to look here at these are upcoming football visits. Starting with this was yesterday the 10th. So here's the defensive lineman, Josh Sear Whittington, 6 foot 270, coming in from Pitt. A pretty good player. Is putting in some pretty decent stats. Not necessarily the bigger guy that we're looking for, but a good player nonetheless. Maybe he's going to actually be looked at more as a defensive end than a defensive tackle, which is fine. We are looking really good for defensive ends as well. This guy looks like this is a pretty secure. A lot of crystal balls are coming in tonight for him. This is Andy Burbia. I think that's how they were saying it earlier today. Burbia. He is from Iowa Western, JUCO. Another guy that was kind of rumored to possibly be taking over our defensive line was Aaron Terry, who was the longtime defensive line coach and recruiting coordinator at Iowa Western. Iowa Western is known for putting defensive linemen all over Power 4, Power 5 schools, and then those guys going into the NFL. So he's a huge developer at that position, knows that position in and out. So the fact that finally Matt Rule and the Nebraska program has really or looks to finally pick up somebody from that program is a good look, because hopefully we'll start doing that more often to get some of these defensive linemen that can come into the Big Ten and really do some things. But like I said, a lot of crystal balls who came in tonight, so looks like that's going to be a good addition to our defensive line. This is actually a high school player, I do believe. This is Tanner Vebabul, quarterback, 6'1", 175 pounds. Looks like he's definitely going to be committed to us. This is another true dual threat player. And then this is a guy that actually just recently committed from FIU. Or no. This one's the one from Towson. Jason Shrugs or Shigs. Man, hold on. Let me put on my glasses. Jason Shiggs. Okay, safety, 6'1", 175. Apparently pretty talented. Don't know a ton about him. This is the guy that was here yesterday, or I guess Friday, and yesterday a little bit, I guess. Dylan Berryman. This is again, high school kid. Right now it's kind of, even though it doesn't show it here, apparently it's down to LSU and Nebraska. So we'll see hopefully he really liked what he saw. Let's see here. We're going back. Okay, so as far as we know, then looks like that's all the visits that we know of. All right, let's go to transfers. All righty. So we're going to look at all the transfers. Yeah, there's no more dates there. Okay. So, yes, we will go look at why did it take me all the way out of there? I don't know. All right, we're going to look at transfers. I don't know why that took me all the way out. Anyway. All right, so most recently committing to Nebraska in the transfer portal tonight has been Jack Wills. Jack Wills is a long snapper, apparently one of the best or one of the two best long snappers in the transfer portal. Uh, and what's crazy is we're getting him from a program that now has LeVar Woods, the special teams coordinator, great LeVar Woods, who just went to Michigan State from Iowa. So I would consider this a pretty big get. Doesn't look like Kevin Galick is going to get that extra year, and so us being able to pull up another great long snapper is going to be very good. Again, another commit was Jason Shiggs out of Towson. We'll see how that turns out, but always adding other bodies to the secondary is good. This is the guy from FIU, Victor Evans III. A lot of people have just praised this guy and his ability. Should be able to come in and play very well for Nebraska this upcoming year. Some news on the outs. We have Malcolm Hartzog, who is now going to be going to Arizona. Good for him. I hope he does very well. Hope he balls out. Hope he has a lot of success at Arizona. Caden Vermas is now going to Rice. So good for him. Hope he does well. A commit into us is Quasi Gilmer, UCLA's number 1 wide receiver. This guy is very comparative to Isaiah Hunter as far as kind of the same numbers and production that he had at UCLA as Isaiah had at Cal before he came into Nebraska. So I think that's another good wide receiver to be pulling in. I think that was not necessarily a position that of need, but I think they just kind of had it. They knew that they could go get one more guy to really make a top tier wide receiver core, and they had the ability to go get him, and they did. So now we have Preston Okafor, who's going to Fresno State. Anthony Jones has committed to Nebraska from UCLA. And then I believe that kind of catches us up because I believe everybody else I have already talked about. I believe I talked about Larry Tarver coming back and Braylon Prude, who drew their names out of the portal to come back. And then the two today that drew their names back out of the portal and are coming back to Nebraska, which this guy I think is a huge get back. And that is Willis McGahee IV. And then defensive lineman Dylan Parrott has also withdrew his name from the portal. Also in portal news, some crystal balls, by some I think just one. As I don't even know if it's full crystal ball, but I know it's at least a favor, a prediction of some sort is coming in to put Dylan Raiola at Oregon, which is it's very interesting. Again, I'm still kind of there with the whole like I'll believe it when I see it, whenever it actually officially happens, just because that just seems like an odd fit for many different reasons. One, the kind of scuttlebutt last year whenever he was starting to look around was that since he is an Adidas athlete, is going to have to be an Adidas school. Oregon is anything but an Adidas school. So that fit right there is just odd. Maybe there's not that type of part of his contract with Adidas. Maybe that's not in there that it has to be an Adidas school, just as long as he can still rep Adidas. Two, he's never won a competition ever in his life. Like at all. So there's competition at Oregon. Even if Dante Moore leaves, there'd be competition between him and a couple underclassmen that they have that are very highly touted quarterbacks. And then two, Dante Moore has not officially said that he's left yet. So I'm pretty sure he's not going to start over Dante Moore. There's nothing I've seen from Dylan that would tell me that he would all of a sudden play over Dante Moore. So that whole situation just seems weird. It seems odd. I don't know. I don't know if it's something more that the Raiola camp's pushing. So that's why these things just kind of keep randomly coming out. So we'll see. Again, I'm not like sitting here trying to wish ill on Dylan or anything like that, or like hope he doesn't succeed. Like I'm just saying, like it seems very odd. Um, but if maybe Oregon sees something in him, maybe they think that their offense can evolve differently with him in that spot. But you go look at all their quarterbacks that they've had, even though that they still don't run like the what Chip Kelly's offense was, or the Mark Helfrich offense, or anything like that. They still all the quarterbacks under Dan Lanning have still all been mobile. Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, Dante Moore. I mean, these have all been very mobile quarterbacks. Dylan is not mobile. We have seen that. So that's interesting that's a possibility, or that's where he's favored to go. I just think that's very interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And look, if he finally does develop there at Oregon to become more of a mobile quarterback, to do some of the different things that he wasn't doing here at Nebraska, I don't know. That's going to have me kind of questioning, what effort was he putting in here, or are we? And this will also, kind of depend on how the quarterbacks do here with him gone. If the quarterbacks struggle here too, if a Anthony Calandria all of a sudden, or Calandria starts to struggle and doesn't look as mobile, or all these different things here, then I'm going to start really questioning, okay, well, now what's going on with the position coaches here? So it's going to be very interesting. Again, I'm not kind of watching him off in the distance as quite like I did Scott Frost. For I ain't gonna lie, yeah, I was kind of hoping he would suck. At UCF, especially the more and more he would talk about blaming Nebraska and the place over what not taking responsibility of the things that he chose to do or chose not to do while here as Nebraska's head coach. So I'm not necessarily looking at that. I'm just looking at it more as like a way to gauge maybe where this program is with this coaching staff and everything else. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to kind of go. Yeah. So again, I think, oh, that's right. Let's go back. That's what I wanted to do. See, sometimes whenever I don't write notes, guys, this is what happened. Okay, we're going to share back. Let's go back to just overall transfer portal. All right. Positions. Defensive line. All right. Now, I don't know. What order these are going to be in. But of course, you see all these different guys. There's still a lot of some talented guys. This is one that I saw that just jumped in today. Started seeing some people's kind of within the Nebraska atmosphere say, kind of put the eyeballs up, or okay. DeAndre Robinson, 6'3.5", 315 pounds. This kind of got the, hey, keep a lookout for this guy. And again, that just came in today, right? So not even is there still players that are left over. That guy just came in today. Not seeing the other guy yet, and I'm feeling like we're too far down. But as you can see, there's still some big guys, young guys, which, that's not necessarily something that I would be looking at. I would be making sure we're looking at, older guys. Here we go. Here's another one right here. Armon Parker, redshirt junior, 6'4", 270, out of Washington. A very talented guy, which would be fun to see here in Lincoln. As you can see, there are still some guys, not a ton, but there are still guys that are still coming in. We've got a few days left for guys to come into the portal. So, and as you can see, like the two Oregon guys here, these are both still expected. So they still haven't even officially put their names in. So these are also two guys that are looking, and you got a sophomore that's 6'3", 360. And if anything, you can watch Oregon's defensive line, and we have had him here in Nebraska. Oregon's defensive line coach is Tony Tuioti, who we know is a very good recruiter, talent evaluator, and developer. So if their guys are going in the portal, they've had some good coaching. So maybe, it's just that they've got so many good defensive linemen that they were looking to get some playing time elsewhere. Or maybe they, who knows? That they just could just be looking for more money. They could be somebody that's looking to have a different scenery. Who knows what the case may be for a lot of these guys getting into the portal. But just the point is that we've got a coach now. He could maybe bring some guys from Miami of Ohio. We saw the talent. I mean, you see the stats, you see the talent that he had on that defensive line. Maybe some guys are going to want to follow him and use him as a stepping stone to get to a bigger stage. Obviously, Nebraska would be a bigger stage than Miami of Ohio. And so you never know. I'm still not fully out on us failing at getting anybody in from that position quite yet. And same thing with running back. I don't know what's going on there. Again, the big scuttlebutt, the big rumor is it could be Charmar Brown, but he's still playing at Miami, so maybe that's going to take a while. The other guy that was rumored was Fame Ijaboy from Minnesota, but he just recently committed to Purdue. So, I don't know where they're going with the running back situation, what they're kind of looking for. But I do feel like they do have a plan in place, especially after listening to several different podcasts, like with guys like with Tim Verghese, and people that really are in the know. So hearing them talk about kind of the running back situation, what they have heard, I don't feel as worried. Still feel a little worried, but I don't feel as worried about them being able to get guys from the running back room in the transfer portal and getting them here to Lincoln. If it is Charmar Brown, if that does come to fruition, cool. And that's all we would need. To be honest with you, after watching, like I said, I think pairing him up with Mekhi Nelson, and then having Isaiah Mosey as kind of like the scat back, little third down back, receiving back. And then you kind of mix in Connor Booth, who apparently they've really enjoyed his development over this past year behind the scenes. He's a bigger back. And then you've got incoming freshman Jamal Rule that they're also apparently very high on. So again, we as fans don't see everything. So we only have one view of perception on this program. To us, yes, 2 backs is a major need. But to them, who see guys every day develop, they have a whole different perspective on who they think and who they believe in going into next season. Not only that, our offensive line definitely looks like it's getting better. You got a running quarterback now that can be a dual threat who can truly take some eyeballs off of our running backs. So therefore, maybe they believe that will help open up the run game in many different variations. So maybe they're thinking money just needs to be spent on different things. Also, kind of forgot to talk about, speaking of quarterbacks, I don't know if it's official, but a lot of crystal balls are coming in. It's been predicted. It's been, everybody's saying he's at least been committed, I guess. But again, he wasn't on the list of official commits from On3's transfer portal thing. But that'd be the return of Danny Kaelin at quarterback. I think this would be huge if this does come to fruition and he does officially commit. That's one hell of a quarterback room. TJ Lateef, Danny Kaelin, and Anthony Calandria. All 3 Power 4 starting experience. I know Danny Kaelin was only like 1 game or 2 games at Virginia while their starter was hurt. But experience is experience. He got some of that this year. Obviously, Anthony Calandria has got like 3 years of starting experience, and TJ had his 4 or 5 games last year of starting experience. So that all of a sudden makes your quarterback room very stout and going to be very interesting. I think obviously it's still going to be Anthony Calandria's job, but the backup position now makes it's a lot more interesting with those 2 quarterbacks in the fold. So anyway, let's go ahead and finish this off tonight talking about the playoffs, shall we? Man, I said I wanted to see an Indiana-Miami national championship, and I'm going to get it. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. The Miami game was a very fun game. The Indiana-Oregon game was not. Indiana smoked them. I did not see that coming. But it's so funny because everybody's still like wondering, like kind of still going, oh, what's the secret with Cignetti and this, and this? And I think I kind of touched on it a little bit. But they're a team, right, especially right now in the era of transfer portals, and we're still dealing with 6-7 year seniors. Shit, maybe even 8-year seniors for half of them. We got all these guys that don't want to leave college football. They're trying to be as old as possible. You have Miami's quarterback, Carson Beck, who came in the same recruiting class as guys like CJ Stroud, who is in his 3rd year in the NFL. And CJ was a 4-year guy. It's not like he left early. Those are the type of guys that are staying in the NFL. Indiana's average age of player on their team is 23. The Green Bay Packers' average age is 25. The secret sauce for Curt Cignetti is through the transfer portal, he has been able to go find old, experienced guys that can all come together. They want to do it one last time and go win. And his experience is outplaying all the other talent that could be on the field. Because in college, that can happen. There's a big difference between 18, 19, and 20-year-olds and 23, 24, 25-year-olds. 23, 24, 25-year-olds, you're men. 18, 19, 20, you're getting there. Now, yes, each age, you have your exceptions, of course. But that's the secret sauce. Get old, stay old. Have the experience. That's one of the reasons why I mentioned whenever I was talking about who I would want, like what style of quarterback I would want for Nebraska. I don't care what division. Obviously, maybe not go too low. I don't think you're going to strike, oil twice in the Division II era and grab another Trinidad Chambliss. But, you could go to an FCS. You could go to a group of 5, find a guy that is developed, gotten old, is now experienced, has a lot of starting experience, finally started putting up top numbers, and let him be your senior leadership at that quarterback spot. And there's a reason for that. There's no trying to think of the dang word. I don't know. But anyway, there's no substitution. That's an easy word to remember too. There's no substitution for experience. There's just not. Experience, man, whenever you've been through stuff, you've been through the ups and downs, you've seen things. Whenever those things come back up, you know how to attack it now. Whenever you're young, you don't know how to do that. You might think you do. You might study enough to think that you know, but you don't. You just don't. So that's why all of a sudden Indiana, because it's not like they're going out and getting the best of the best of the best. They're still getting good players, but they're not getting the Brandon Sorsbys. They're not going after a Sam Levitt. They got a Jason Hoover. right? They're getting guys with experience. They're getting seniors. They're getting 6-year seniors, and they're playing them. And they're smart. They know what to do. They've been through this. A lot of them have probably been in school so long they don't really have to go to school. They just take a couple online classes, so they're spending most of their time prepping and being ready for football. They don't have to take the underclass, uh, you know, requirement class of math or American history or whatever. They're taking their couple online classes of whatever electives that they have, and that's it. Whatever they're doing, the bare minimum to be uh, eligible, and that's it. So I think coming down to the national championship game next Monday night, I've got Indiana winning it all. I really do. I just think that they've got something going on right now, man. They've got just the swagger. Fernando Mendoza has just been lights out. That defense is insane. They got a two-headed monster at running back. Yeah, I think they're going to pull it off. Miami is good. Do not get me wrong. I think this game will be a much closer game than like what we saw with them in Oregon or them in Alabama. But because Miami is also old at certain positions. There are certain positions, they're playing like a 17-year-old true freshman. They've got a couple other guys that are maybe a little bit on the younger side, but like Carson Beck's old. They've got some old offensive defensive linemen. They've got some old running backs. So I think it will still be a much closer game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun next Monday night. But I do have Indiana winning. So I was correct with what the national championship game was going to be. So let's see if I'm correct with who's going to win it all. Let's go. I'll go ahead and call my shot now. Indiana, 52. Miami, 46. Odd numbers, I know. Don't care. That's what I'm going with. 52-46. I think it's going to be somewhere in there. How about that? Okay. Whenever I give it a number score, I'm not saying it's definitely going to be 52-46 and hold me to that. 52-46. So it's going to be like anywhere in that early 50s to anywhere in the mid 40s in that area, low to mid 40s for Miami. So that's my prediction going forward. So we'll see. We'll see if the transfer portal ramps back up for Nebraska here beginning of this week. Now that we have a defensive line coach in hand, we'll see just kind of going forward. Once the national championship's done, those teams now have an extra, I think, like 5 days to get into the portal. And of course, just because the portal season is closed does not mean that players cannot still join teams. It's just that they can no longer enter the portal on the 16th. So we'll see kind of what happens going forward. See if they kind of drone up some more people. I'd like to see them get at least one more offensive lineman, definitely a running back. I would like to see a tight end, and then a couple of defensive tackles. I think would be a huge help. I think everything else, all the other positions that they have hit so far, I think they hit very well. I like who they're bringing in. I actually like it a lot. I think next year's team has a chance to be a pretty damn good team now. Again, there's two big missing pieces though. Defensive tackle and running backs, I think, are huge. If they do not address those the way we would like to see them be dressed, then maybe not. Maybe it's not going to be quite as good of a year next year. So we will see what goes on. Let's hope that Rule's got a plan, that Pat Stewart has a plan, and it all comes together for him. So this is going to be a very busy week for me. Got a lot of stuff going on. So I don't know. Might not be until next Sunday night before I do another video, which might be okay. Unless anything crazy happens, like if there's a major breaking news that's really huge, maybe I'll get on and just literally talk about it for like 5 to 10 minutes and then get off. But if not, let's just go ahead and plan. You can catch me back next Sunday night, probably about the same time, 7:30. And we will chat about all things Husker men's basketball, anything in the portal, any coaching news that might break. Who knows if they're not done or not. So we will see. But until then, guys, like always, go big red forever.